Hey people, welcome to UK Jazz Dance. Yes, we can share our journey of learning, which is important, especially for people who came from lifelong learning backgrounds, who need to evidence they've had a particular type of learning. And today what happens, what's beautiful, there's a lot of information on lifelong learning for people to use. Now I come from a lifelong learning experience and I want to share that with individuals. What you see here, the pictures that you see here, I wasn't trained to do that. I developed that from my lifelong experiences. And for me, what happens, I'm lucky for myself as an individual, yes, I can evidence what I do through pictures. Do you understand? And I was an individual, kept archive pictures, and I'll describe to you what they mean because some people don't understand. Yes, we can evidence and I know and show the impact of it. People are unaware that a picture in advertising symbolizes 10,000 words. A picture in the arts symbolizes 1,000 words. A video clip today of you dancing reflects 1 million words. That's the power of video. If you had a video from 1888, immediately that video is worth $1 million because it's going to give you information from a 3D perspective of what the era looked like, etc., etc. People got that, which is very important. Yes, we can today show our journey through technology, through photographs that you have within your home. So what happened, I'm at home in my Blue Lab, and this is important for me as an individual because UK Jazz Dance is a culture, UK Jazz Dance is a lifestyle, UK Jazz Dance is a movement, it's a value, it's an attitude, it's a behaviour. Have you got that? And one of the key things, I'm Blue UK Jazz Dance, so I created my own lifestyle culture, my own movements. Have people got that? And I wanted to share that with individuals. I wanted to share behind the scene that I used the dance for certain key things. For example, I used dance as a vehicle proactively from the age of 8 years old to improve my reading, writing, my cognition from a very young age, unaware to how I'll be using it in that, unaware to the fact I'll be successful in doing that, and unaware that one day I'll be creating projects off the back of the fact I'd used it for that as a specialist. So that happened, for example, in my school I taught other people dance. In my school I taught other people sports. Yeah? And I taught them sports and dance because I told them that will make you feel confident. You see, what happened, there's certain things in life that are seen as cool. What's seen as cool? Dance is seen as cool. Being able to teach other people dance is seen as cool. If you're good at sports, it's seen as something cool. But what happens, not only that it's seen as cool, it actually makes you feel good about yourself. That is what I learned. And it's a good activity to engage in socializing with others. We have social sports and social dance. They were huge in my time of growing up. So I introduced people to that because I know what it was like to be isolated. I know it's like to be socially excluded from a society at large. And I knew what connected me to my community, what connected me to my home, what connected to my friends was dancing. But not only dancing, record collecting was a huge thing. So there's certain activities, dress sense, what music you're into, because dance and music indicate a certain type of fashion. So again, this connected me to certain types of communities. So I'm giving people, yes, we can share people, articulate people our journey of lifelong learning. And what I'm going to share with individuals, this, what you see before you, led me into higher education college as a lifelong learner. And what happened led me to personalize my own learning. And that's all part of lifelong learning. So what happened in 89-90, I got onto an amazing course. In 1991, I got onto an amazing course, Bedford Higher Education College. Basically, I ended up there doing a foundation to dance and sports foundation degree onto a dance performance certificate and a first year of a groundbreaking contemporary dance, music and theatre course. And that all happened from my lifelong learning experiences, but one, learning the ability to articulate them to other people in writing and through an interview and through an audition and through a portfolio is important for people to understand. So dancing, people never thought. What happened was I did it in a very competitive way, which is important for me to say, because I think one of the key things is, yes, we can competitively compete for courses as lifelong learners at university, at any university in the world. It's important I say that to people, because people limit themselves. You can compete for any course in the world if you can articulate your lifelong learning experience, and if you have evidence of your development. Look at the criteria for what they're doing. Most importantly, yes, we can. I didn't do it by myself. I had teachers, coaches, mentors, advisors, consultants that helped me put together my articulation for what I want to do. Have you got that? It's like a dancer who's doing a website. He wants to promote, or she wants to promote herself in the world, the dance industry, in a competitive world. Anybody smart will get help and support. They will follow, yes, we can. Basically, you go to find people will help you present what you want to do, because sometimes you can't present it yourself. But what I want to share with you, the whole element of yes, we can be competitive is important. Competition is important in our industry, in the UK jazz dance industry. And what happens is, not only in the UK jazz dance industry, in the creative culture industries, it's highly competitive. So you have to be highly competitive in a positive way, not a negative way. Understand the industry. I'm a dancer. I'm seen as a solo dancer and a solo practitioner. I'm a freelance arts manager, administrator, advisor, consultant to people doing live improvisational projects, dance, or anything to do with leadership. I'm involved in that. And that goes down to, yes, we can transfer our skills to activities, because one of the key things I transferred my dance leadership skills, my performing arts skills to, was leadership programs. And I got the best opportunity that enabled me to be more competitive than most people, because I got to use my skills in the youth service independently, me initiating projects myself. Secondly, me not only initiating, designing and developing them and monitoring, but also working alongside others was one of the key things I got to do. I was working alongside experts in psychology, for example. I did a lot of work around stereotyping. I worked with psychology students, for example, and I had interest in looking at the power of stereotyping, and they had a power of looking at the stereotyping from two different perspectives, me from an artist perspective, them from an academic perspective. But we wanted to explore the issues in an unthreatening way, and that was enabled by the fact that was enabled by the psychologists bringing certain key things in, and boom. And there were first of the type of projects ever to do with stereotyping in such a way. Do you understand? And they call that youth arts work, which means I'm working alongside an individual in a youth service as a voluntary youth worker, creating a program with someone who's a specialist. So the psychologist was viewed as a specialist. Have you got that? Then I did other work with people that were from the business world. They wanted to do team building, and I used dance as to broach it, and they brought in the technical knowledge around team building. Do you understand? Later on, as an individual, yes, we can. I wanted myself as an individual to do that work around team building because I was involved in it, but I didn't have no qualifications. So yes, we can was important, because I went to see a consultant. I went to Manchester Business School and said I wanted to use the arts as a tool, the performing arts as a tool, to actually coach professional development, team building. To do that, I was advised you need to get the technical knowledge around team building. So I started to do research, but not only get the knowledge, get qualified in it. If you want to be competitive, you need to get yourself qualified. So, over years, I did short courses around team building. Then I went to Oxford Brookes. That's why you see a picture of me. There it says Oxford Brookes at the top on the right. I went to Oxford Brookes University, where I did arts management, administration and business management. And part of that, I did sports coaching, acquisition of skill. Because I wanted to create my own programs, my own specialist programs, underpinning it by my own qualifications in team building. I have to rely upon other people. So yes, we can come to be independent in our own development of personal development courses, in our own development of professional development courses, and our own courses of research and development. So part of my HND, and I need to say originally I was on a degree, and due to having septus and the latter stages of the degree, I had to leave university, taking approved time out, expecting to get back. I was then in a house fire, and I never got back to university. Then the university awarded me a HND in Arts Management, Administration and Business Management, but originally I was doing a degree. If people got that, I was at university from 05 to 09, and a number of different things took place during that time. But cut a long story short, part of the honours I took place was in view of the fact I wanted to underpin my own courses by my own academic study. So I have academic qualifications, e.g. I did 3 honours. 1, arts in the community, because I've been involved in arts in the community and I wanted to create my own courses around that. My own visionary courses, which would be grassroots to management, coming from a grassroots perspective. Then I did careers and employability, arts, careers and employability, again from a grassroots to mainstream perspective, because that's my history. What happened, a lot of people in grassroots communities wanted to engage in the arts and wanted to engage in the arts in communities, gain careers, but they were unaware of how to compete in that industry. And sometimes what they didn't realise was many people in the arts and community careers, many people come from a vocational background. But what happens is basically they couldn't compete against the best because many individuals had masters, PhDs, and they had HNDs, they had some form of qualification. And one thing I got taught by my teacher who had masters, he identified if you truly want to compete around the world, what you do, you push the boundaries of your learning to get qualifications, and that's what I did. So basically I did honours in arts and community, which is careers and development, and the last honours I did was in research methods, because I wanted to create my own research lab. Now, I already have my own research lab, but I wanted to develop other people to do that, develop their practice in research methods, because one of the key things, as a dancer, what we're seen as a business, and we need to understand that we're viewed as a business. That requires us to do research. And what happens, we're competing against other people. So what happens is, as a business, I want to get funding. What happens is, if I've got a research and development department and show I have research that shows I'm unique, shows I'm innovative, I'm coming from a very special place, what happens, and I can back it up, showing research methods, research methodology, then I'm more likely to get funding than other people, because we're in a highly competitive world. And what happens is unique selling points. It's people want to know what's going to make me employ you to other people, which is come up. And what happened, that is came up in 2003 from the Department of Culture, Media, Sports. But it came up in Manchester, in the first regeneration city for Moss Idean Hume in the 80s, latter 80s, which is important. And then Manchester Business School, it came up again, and it was all about what happened. Individuals need to see themselves as a business, and that people needed to start to do business plans. You can't just have a business, you don't know where you're going. It's like a headless chicken. It didn't make no sense. So one of the key things, that's why I went back into university. But what happened, my ability to get a place on Oxford Brookes, because what I've not identified, yes, we can get onto groundbreaking courses anywhere in the world if you know how to compete and articulate yourself. And it's a yes, we can. I tell people I've got onto groundbreaking courses where people are competing for places locally to internationally. I got a place on them. First ever time I ever did that, that was in Bedford. Yeah, and it was an amazing experience that I had there as an individual. But due to being a self-sustaining student, I couldn't get funding from my own local authority. I only could stay there for a short period of time, which I stayed there from 89 to 91, being a self-sustaining student, working 3-4 jobs at a time. And then the unfortunate thing, getting a dance injury as an individual, meant I couldn't work. That meant I couldn't pay my rent. That meant I had to leave the university eventually. But that experience was what enabled me to successfully go through Oxford Brookes University, because I had an amazing experience Because when I was in Bedfordshire College 89, 91, I was unaware that I had dyslexia, I was unaware that I had asthma, and I was unaware I had visual stress, and I had challenges there, but I got through it, so I successfully did that. When I decided to go to Oxford Brookes University, I've been out of education really from 91. That's what you might as well call it. And so to go back into education after being out for so long, people know it's a challenge, and it was a challenge. I prepared myself well, but one of the key things I knew, the vital key thing, was to be competitive to get in and get a place, and I did that, and that gave me a lot of motivation, self-motivation, that I could successfully get on a degree and do what I'm doing. Now, I benchmarked 58 universities to get Oxford Brookes as the number one. Oxford Brookes was the number one modern university at that time, and I'd come from the number one modern city, which is Manchester. There was a strong relationship between Oxford and Manchester. I saw the future. The future was creating knowledge around leadership and creating alternative knowledge, which was coming from a grassroots perspective. And that what's happened was grassroots to mainstream leaders had successfully engaged in lifelong learning, but it wasn't recognized till 1990. So many people wanted to apply for leadership positions in the world of the arts and other fields, but couldn't because they never had academic study to underpin it. That was one of the weaknesses that we had. So one of the key things was in 2003, when the Department of Culture, Media, Sports basically illuminated that all artists were trained inadequately. What they were talking about, first of all, a lot of artists had the inability to articulate their lifelong learning. What happened, they did not recognize that they were business. If you don't recognize what you are, you're in a business world. That was important, and many artists never had